Hello, everyone. Thanks for joining us today for Focus Employment Services Polish Your Resume Workshop. The objective of today's workshop is to be able to identify the components of a resume, to determine what style resume suits you best, to determine what needs to be included on your resume, and to recognize the importance of using a tailored resume in your job search. What is a resume? A resume is your personal marketing tool that effectively describes your work accomplishments and skills to a potential employer. A good resume focuses on achievements or accomplishments, not solely job duties. And a resume is a concise inventory of experience, education, job-related personal traits. Points to remember: the resume is about you. Employers spend about 15 to 20 seconds reading or scanning your resume. This is your first contact with employer, so let's make a great first impression. It is not a biography, so it's a snapshot of what you can do based on your experience, and your resume will get you an interview, not the job. The components of a resume: contact information, objective or profile statement, skill summary, related skills, experience, and these can be from a work, placement, or volunteer, education and training, accomplishments or awards, these are optional, and as well as activities and interests, those are optional. There's two main types of resume formats. We'll talk today about the chronological and functional. Up first is the chronological. This is the most traditional style of resume. This highlights, emphasizes when and where you worked and related job duties. It describes your work history in reverse chronological order, starting with your most recent job. And temporary agencies tend to like this, prefer this resume style. Continued, this is if you have extensive experience, skills, training, or field, and you wish to stay in that field, it's recommended to use a chronological style. And if you have a work history education that reflects constant growth and promotions, it's suggested that you use a chronological style. The chronological resume shows a logical progression. Employers are familiar with the style. It highlights the companies you've worked at. It's quick and easy to scan for relevant information, and it's good when using or when creating a master resume. So with a chronological resume, be aware it also does highlight employment gaps you have. If you have some experience, it may emphasize unrelated experience, job hopping. It may be difficult to use this resume format when re-entering the job market or changing career path. And it does have a tendency to become repetitive duties and responsibilities. Now up is the functional. This type of resume focuses on your skills and accomplishments, not specific jobs you have held. So it doesn't highlight where you've worked, it highlights your skill set. It's suggested to use this style if you have limited or no experience in your field. Example, if you are a recent graduate or you're changing career paths, if you possess experience and accomplishments from volunteer work, hobbies, or school that are directly related to the field or the job you're applying for, or if you've had many jobs, worked for only one employer, or you have gaps in your employment. Functional style, it highlights various key skill set for a particular job. It's ideal for those re-entering the market, new graduates, or changing careers. It does not highlight employment gaps as your employment's not highlighted, and you can make it more creative or unique. Functional style, some employers may find this style difficult to navigate or not as familiar with it. It can initially be a little bit more work on your end, and temporary agencies or recruiters typically don't like this style. So resume do's: always use point form, avoid sentences, neat and clean paper, content over color. Maximum resume is 2 pages, we suggest. Ensure your name, phone number, and email are on both pages. If you have more than 1-page resume, use bold, caps, and italics sparingly, and try to use action words in the past. So you quantify if possible. Try to use numbers, percentages as much as you can. It stands out on the page with lots of words. You can use up to 12-point font preferred. You can use 11 as well. Some fonts that we suggest are Arial, Times New Roman, Garamond, Calibri. They are very easy to read. Be consistent with font size and headings. try not to use different fonts within your resume. Try to keep it consistent. Proofread your resume, of course. Ask your network to review. You can also reach out to Focus. We're happy to do a resume review for you. And it's really important to target your resume to the job. Resume don'ts. Avoid using I, me, my. Use action words instead. Typically, we suggest don't include experience that is over 15 years, unless it's really pertinent to the job you're applying for. No handwritten changes. Pictures are generally not recommended. Try not to lie or stress the truth. And no date or signature. Talk about transferable skills. So transferable skills, identify skills that you acquired throughout your career, education, and life experience that can be transferred to a new set of tasks and a new position. And then these can be from life, hobbies, volunteering, sports, parenting, etc. Target your resume to the job and matching the skills you already have to the skills the employer is looking for. So transferable skills, think about the dreaded tell me about yourself question. This can, looking at transferable skills can help you address this question. And as well, it may open up new opportunities and career options that you may have not considered in your original job search. So putting it together, compiling the data, compiling your personal and professional work experience, review personal appraisals, job descriptions, letters of recognition, references. These can be helpful to jog your memory. It's really a good way to use your previous job descriptions to create your resume or update your resume, especially if you've left that position. Let's put it all together. Of course, you want all of your contact information at the top of your resume. If you include your email address, which we suggest you do, make sure you're checking your emails on a regular basis. You want an objective or profile statement on your resume based on the position you're applying for, based on your experience. Highlights and qualifications. So here's where you have 5 to 8 bullet points to highlight some of your key skills and abilities. It can be a blend of your relevant hard and soft skills, and ensure that the points are relevant to your objective and to the job you're applying for. This is the first thing that the employer sees, your highlights, which is at the top of your page. So you want to make sure it really talks to the position you're applying for. This is an example of some highlights of qualifications for a person that's applying for a driving job. And you can see all of the bullets here relate to driving position. So over 5 years experience driving, valid license, clean driver's abstract, experience driving different vehicles, good customer service, works well and with ability to work well and overcome stressful situations, and bondable. So all things related to a driving job. So your skill summary for functional style resume. So this is a bit different than the chronological. So you organize, categorize your skills into distinct sections based on the job you're applying for. So these distinct sections could be planning, supervising, administrative, accounting. It can be teaching. It can be a wide array of sections based on the job you're applying for. Research the skills required to be a successful candidate, and pull skills from your work, education, volunteer, and personal experiences, and fill them in under each section. How to create a bulleted or skill statement. So you choose a skill. For example, this is an example, you've used a cash register. What did you do? You accepted customer payments. You did that via POS system. So how to create the final bulleted statement would be utilize a POS cash register to finalize sales via cash, credit, or debit. You can see that's a more complete bullet rather than just use a cash register. These are some examples of skill summary, and they're examples for customer service or administrative. So I really suggest looking at the job posting, what is the employer looking for, and matching your skill set to what the employer is looking for. Employment history, this highlights relevant experiences. Ensure you have the proper spelling of the company name and job title. Highlight the time that you've worked for the company in years. So you can include months as well. If you were with a place for a very short period of time and you use months, it will highlight how long you've been there. It's up to you. But you definitely want to state the years that you were there for sure. That's a must. Here's an example of employment history with the position, the company, and the location and the years. And this is a great way to state your employment history on the resume. Education and training, you should always include your education and training on your resume. Any training that's related to the position you should include as well. So if you have WMIS or mental health first aid, SmartServe, working at heights, first aid, CPR, good idea to include those. And this is just an example of how you would put your education and training, how you would put that down on your resume. Okay. These are some optional headings that you can put. Instead of highlights of qualifications, you can use professional skills. If you've done any professional development, you can add that title and put your professional development there, major accomplishments, certificates or licenses. So it really depends on the job and what you want to convey to the employer. Reference list. So in general, we suggest to not include your references with your resume unless the employer has asked you to do so. You can always add an optional line in your resume, references available upon request. If you get a request to provide references, you should let your references know. And of course, always get permission from your references each time you begin a job search and let them know you're job searching. And you may provide their contact information to a potential employer. The best references are people who have supervised your work or have worked with you. I would say employers are probably most interested in people that have supervised your work first. Avoid using family members if possible. It is recommended that you have at least 3 professional references. The more the better, so 3 to 5 references. And you want to have their name, first and last name, their position, the company name, and their position. And I would suggest as well the working relationship. So were they your previous supervisor, previous colleague, current supervisor? I would include that information as well, and contact information based on what the reference has provided to you. Here's an example. And to this, I would add the working relationship, whether they were your supervisor, colleague, and put that information. That's helpful to a potential employer. So customizing your resume, don't mass produce. 96% of employers stated that they hired people who customized their resumes to what the employer wanted. So target your resume. You don't need to include all your experience. Use only those examples that are relevant to the job you're applying for. Of course, research the company, find out more about them, see what they're looking for. That may help you when building your resume. Use strong action words in past tense. Examples are accomplished, allocated, managed, prepared, administrated. Keep it accomplished focused. Quantify whenever possible. Use numbers, percentages. Keep it logical and easy to follow, I should say. Some companies will scan your resume for buzz keywords that they have in their particular job ad. So if you can incorporate these words in your resume, it gives you a better chance of having your resume seen. So try to think like an employer. Ask yourself, what is the employer looking for in an employee? Validate your experience. Have an example for every skill you have, as a skill does not mean anything if you can't back it up. And what would you want an employee if you were the boss? So really, with a job ad, they're telling you what they're looking for. Try to, if you have most of the experience, 80% of what the employee there is looking for, definitely apply, but try to match your skill set to what the employee is looking for. Not word for word in your resume, but you really want to convey that you have the experience they're looking for. This is an example of an advertised job ad. So basically looking for a landscaper, long hair position. Type of skills required, it's here in the rectangle, must be punctual, reliable, physically fit, able to work long hours, 7 days a week if needed. You need a valid driver's license and transportation. So this is the job ad. And if you can see here with resume, it basically in the highlights of qualifications, it is targeting it to the position, to the job ad. So they have landscape experience, they're physically fit, punctual, reliable, and they have valid driver's license. Okay, this is a quick example. So looking at the unadvertised market, research a company by checking out their website to see if what they do and how you match up. So maybe you've sold or used the same products that they currently sell. Maybe you work for a similar company within the same industry. You may be familiar with some of the program software they use. So try to find those common links that you can put on your resume based on your experience and what the employer is all about. Find out what they need and sell it back to them. Need resume help? We're here to help you. Focus Employment Services. Email us at info@focuscdc.on.ca or give us a call toll free. 1-877-513-0187. Thank you, everyone.